equinox energy and all those light codes that came streaming onto the planet that really brought these significant shifts. And it was a recalibration, because what was happening before, the path that was on before, there was this realignment that was happening. And that realignment has been happening as we've been channeling for the past couple of months, especially since last autumn, especially since the Lionsgate energy. So significant shifts had to take place, especially in your physical world, to align you to the new and higher frequency of energy that you are at. So your physical world might have changed. It's only because it's aligning you to the new energy and the new frequency that you're at. That's the recalibration that has been happening. And so it's almost like what I'm seeing is some fine tuning has been happening. And that's why many of us might be feeling this release, this purge, this separation energy. It's not separation. There's still this coming together, but you're feeling very separate because Divine Feminine, you can't hold the energy or that light for the Divine Masculine anymore. It's time for them to recognize the light within themselves, especially the outer masculine. If this is your inner masculine, it's time for you to really step up as your masculine energy and take action for yourself, to build your own foundation, to build your stability, or to find that sense of safety and security within yourself. For myself, this is understanding how conflict and avoidance of conflict or fear of conflict has always permeated throughout my life. And so that is me stepping into my masculine energy and learning not to be afraid of conflict rather than to embrace it. And what I'm learning, I'm reading this fabulous book, and what I'm learning is that it's not so much the disconnection that we fear, it's that there might be a lack of reconnection. And so it's not necessarily the conflict, it's the disconnection that we experience from that conflict and the fear that we won't be able to reconnect with those who are most important to us. And so what I'm actually hearing is it's because you fear from that disconnection that you're actually not going to reconnect to yourself. That's what the ultimate fear is. It's that fear of abandonment. It's that fear of rejection. It's that fear of betrayal. But what that ultimately comes down to, what the core wound is that is displayed in conflict or experiences with other people, is that you're afraid of abandoning yourself, you're afraid of betraying yourself, and you're afraid of rejecting yourself. And Divine Feminine is now saying, I'm no longer going to do that. And that's what I'm personally working through. I know some of you have expressed in emails to me that you're working through something similar. That is what the feminine collective as a whole has been working through, because the feminine collective as a whole has been just mired in conflict and fear of conflict. And what that means, especially when it comes to masculine energy, especially when it comes to the male paradigm or the patriarchy. So I'm speaking specifically to females, but this is just feminine energy as a whole, because masculine energy up until this point had been so mired in anger, in violence, in suppression when it comes to feminine energy expressing herself, especially in the face of conflict. If there is a conflict that is being experienced and feminine energy wants to express in order to resolve, because that is feminine energy, wants to resolve, then what she has faced with when she's tried to express herself and tried to resolve conflict is anger, is perhaps violence, is persecution, is prosecution, is being shut down. And so as a collective, this energy is healing. As a global collective, this energy is healing, because we are shifting out of that old toxic masculinity, that old toxic energy. Now, that's not to say that this is all males or all females, but that is the energy, the environment, the societal programming that we have been conditioned into that is healing at this time. And so the masculine, the divine masculine energy, or the conscious masculine energy, is now working to heal this as well, because they are not suppressing their own inner feminine energy anymore. They are attuning to their emotions. They are understanding how to express themselves in their vulnerability by being intimate with themselves. And so they are learning how to handle conflict, not by avoiding it and not by dealing with it in a destructive or even distractive healing place, but both coming together in a place of unity, in a place of let's resolve this, in a place of let's connect. So the feminine energy, it played itself out as fearing disconnect from partners or from family members or from friends, fearing disconnection from that because you feared that you wouldn't reconnect. But it really came from the core wounding of, I don't want to abandon myself. I don't want to betray myself. I don't want to disconnect from myself anymore. So she's really anchoring into the energy. For the divine masculine, he's feeling that energy. And he is learning how to not disconnect from himself either, because when he disconnects from himself, he disconnects from the feminine energy, and the feminine energy really is a lighthouse. So when I circle back and I say that divine feminine energy, she is, not wanting to be that light or shine that light anymore. It's that codependent energy that she is moving away from. She is recognizing and needing the masculine to recognize the strength within themselves, the courage within themselves, the stability within themselves, and consistency within themselves, all the stuff that makes up what a divine masculine energy or a sacred masculine or a conscious masculine, all the same thing, really is. So rather than fixing it for the masculine, or rather than needing the masculine to fix her, she is really, whichever end of the spectrum that you are on or have been on, she's really recognizing that union within herself, and that is helping the outer masculine, because your inner masculine is your masculine pushed out, or your masculine pushed out embodied is your inner masculine. It's really helping the masculine to find themselves and recognize that they don't need somebody else to lift them up, that they have that capability within themselves. Yes, the feminine is holding space for the masculine. Yes, the feminine is that divine love that the masculine recognizes, but they're also recognizing that that feminine energy resides within themselves, that their feminine embodiment is their own feminine energy. And if they have been denying that within themselves, then they have been just rejecting their outer divine feminine. So there's a lot of realizations that are happening here for the masculine and the feminine outwardly. There's a lot that is happening as far as global collective healing. There is just so much that is happening as a whole.